You know, usually when we talk about buying a piece of technology, there's this fundamental expectation of ownership.
Right.
It's like the real estate model of consumerism, you know?
Yeah.
You buy a house, you get the keys, you walk through the front door and you decide what furniture goes where.
Yeah, it's yours.
Exactly, it's your sanctuary. But then you step into the world of modern smartphones and suddenly, well, that builder who sold you the house, it turns out they never actually gave you the only set of keys.
No, they definitely kept a master key.
Right. And they just quietly let themselves in at 2 a.m, rearrange your living room, and leave a stack of grocery coupons right on your pillow.
Yeah, and the crazy part is, if you happen to catch them in the act, or, you inevitably call them up the next morning to complain, they don't even apologize.
Not at all.
They just calmly tell you that if you attempt to change the locks, your plumbing is going to stop working.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, your electricity will just shut off.
That is just, it's infuriating. So I want you, the listener, right now, as you're listening to this deep dive, to just glance at your phone.
Just take a look.
You don't even have to unlock it. Just look at it. Think about the apps sitting in your storage that you absolutely did not install.
We all have them.
Right. The features that just, appeared overnight. Because today we are tracing the trajectory of a very specific, rapidly escalating conversation between a Thai tech user, and we're just going to refer to them as BB from the source material, and an AI assistant.
It's a fascinating transcript.
It really is. What starts as a grievance over a hidden smartphone app just completely explodes.
Completely.
We're talking about a journey that moves from user interface design straight into the macroeconomic mechanics of digital colonialism, and then, and I'm not kidding, it launches directly into astrophysics.
Yeah, literal space travel.
Exactly. And a philosophical rebellion against the entire system.
It is a remarkable progression because it perfectly encapsulates the modern digital condition, I think.
Yeah, how so?
Well, we're dealing with a user who is incredibly attuned to the subtle ways control is, siphoned away from them.
Right.
BBs is not just a passive consumer. They are interrogating the very architecture of their device. And the inciting incident here is something almost every person has experienced, but rarely questions to this degree.
Okay, so let's start right at the epicenter of that frustration. So BB is digging around in the deep settings of their Android device, right?
What? Deep in the menu.
Yeah, and they discover this feature simply labeled discounts and savings.
Just sitting there.
Just sitting there, completely uninvited, along with another system feature called Captive Portal Login. And BB's immediate, totally justified reaction is basically, I never downloaded this. Where did this come from? Get it off my phone.
Which is the logical response of anyone operating under the assumption that they actually own their hardware.
Right. I paid for this thing.
Exactly. But the AI has to explain to BB the reality of modern operating systems. It tells BB that this isn't malware.
At least not in the traditional sense, right?
Right, not in the traditional malicious sense. It is a system-level feature that was pushed quietly through Google Play services.
Just slipped right in.
Yeah, the transcript notes this specific rollout started happening around 2024 to 2025. It's designed to act as a smart wallet, basically, like an autofill tool for coupons when a user is shopping on browsers like Chrome.
But the mechanism of how it got there without a prompt is what really bothers me.
Yeah, the invisible update.
Right, because my understanding is that back in the day, if an operating system wanted to give you a new feature, they had to push a massive, highly visible OS update.
Oh, yeah. The big downloads.
Like Android 10, Android 11, you got a notification, you actually chose to download a huge file, your phone restarted, and you could read a changelog.
You had agency.
Exactly. So how are they just sliding a coupon tracker under the door without even knocking?
Well, that shift is a crucial piece of the architectural puzzle here. The industry moved towards something called modular updates.
Modular updates, okay.
Yeah. Tech giants realized that those monolithic OS updates were highly inefficient.
Because people ignored them.
Exactly. Users were deferring updates for months because they didn't want to deal with the downtime of a restart, or, they were afraid the new OS would slow down their older hardware.
I am totally guilty of that. Just hitting remind me tomorrow for 6 months.
We all are.
Yep.
So the engineers essentially decouple the core services, things like Google Play services, from the main operating system skeleton.
Wait, so they basically separated the nervous system from the skeleton so they could, operate on it while you're still walking around?
That is a perfect way to put it, actually.
Huh.
Google Play services acts as a background bridge between the apps, the OS, and Google's servers.
Okay.
And because it has elevated system privileges, it can receive background updates completely independently of the core Android OS.
Wow.
The AI explains to BB that Google is aggressively pushing its wallet and password manager to be more capable, more omnipresent. So they just inject this discounts and savings module directly into the autofill framework. It prepares itself in the background, analyzing your browser activity, just waiting for you to hit a checkout page so it can suddenly offer a coupon.
Okay, that covers the discounts and savings feature, which, frankly, feels deeply commercial and invasive.
Highly commercial.
But what about the other one BB found? The captive portal login.
Ah, yes.
Because that sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi prison. Like, captive portal?
It does sound incredibly ominous, but captive portal login actually is a fascinating piece of network engineering.
Okay, I'm listening.
Despite the scary name, it is a strictly functional requirement for modern connectivity. The AI explains that it's basically the gatekeeper for public Wi-Fi.
Oh, like when you sit down at a coffee shop, connect to the network, and that little browser window pops up demanding you accept their terms and conditions before you get internet.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's a captive portal.
Got it.
To understand why it's there as a hidden system app, you have to look at how a phone actually knows it has an internet connection.
Wait, it doesn't just know.
Nope. When you connect to a Wi-Fi router, the Android OS doesn't just assume the internet is working. It actively tries to reach a specific, very lightweight Google server, usually connectivitycheck.gstatic.com.
Okay, so it sends out a little ping.
Exactly. It sends a tiny ping, which the AI notes is about 8.64 kilobytes.
Yeah.
Very small.
Super small.
And it is looking for a very specific HTTP status code back. A 204 no content response.
2.4 no content, meaning the connection is clear, no interference from the router.
Right. But if you were at a coffee shop with a captive portal, the coffee shop's router intercepts that ping.
Oh.
Yeah. Instead of letting it reach Google, the router sends back an HTTP 200 OK code along with a redirect to their own login page.
And the phone realizes something is wrong.
Exactly. The captive portal login app is the system component that recognizes that mismatch. It sees the redirect, realizes you're trapped behind a network gate, and triggers the pop-up screen so you can log in.
Okay, so structurally, the captive portal is doing its job. It's the plumbing.
It's essential plumbing.
Right. But the discounts and savings app, that is purely a commercial push operating under the guise of the same system-level necessity.
Yes. They're bundled in the same inaccessible tier of the phone.
And this is where the conversation between BB and the AI just hits a massive wall.
The total brick wall.
Because BB says, fine, the captive portal stays, but I hate the coupon tracker, delete it.
Yeah.
And the AI delivers the ultimate bad news. You can't.
You literally cannot uninstall it without structurally compromising the entire operating system.
Which brings us back to the house analogy. This is the, if you change the locks, the plumbing breaks scenario.
Exactly that.
BB is told that because this feature is baked into Google Play services, forced deleting it will trigger a catastrophic cascade.
Yeah, everything falls apart.
Your banking apps stop working because they rely on the Play Integrity API to verify the phone hasn't been tampered with, right?
Yep.
Your notifications stop coming through because they rely on Google Cloud messaging. The phone will effectively suffer a nervous breakdown because it can't find its own central nervous system.
It really reveals the absolute illusion of device ownership.
It's so frustrating.
It is. I mean, you purchase the glass, the battery, the silicon. You pay the monthly fee for the cellular data.
Right, I pay the bills.
But the software environment, the actual reality you interact with on a daily basis, is leased. And the terms of that lease are dictated unilaterally by a monopoly.
So what can BB even do?
Well, the AI does offer workarounds to BB. It suggests diving deep into the settings to disable the autofill toggles.
Like buried in 5 menus.
Exactly. It suggests aggressively restricting permissions. It even floats the idea of switching to an alternative browser like Brave.
Okay, Brave is an option.
Or taking the absolute nuclear option, wiping the phone entirely and installing a privacy-focused open-source operating system like Graphene OS.
Okay, but let's pause on that nuclear option for a second, because the AI makes it sound like a simple alternative. Oh, just install Graphene OS.
It is far from simple.
Right. My understanding is that's basically a scorched earth approach to a smartphone.
Totally.
You have to unlock the bootloader, completely flash the device's brain, and strip out anything remotely related to Google. Doesn't that inherently break the phone for an average user who relies on mainstream apps?
It absolutely does, which is why it's kind of a false choice for 99% of consumers.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong, Graphene OS is a brilliant feat of software engineering. It rebuilds the Android open source project without any of the Google Play Services dependencies.
So no hidden tracking.
Right. It sandboxes apps so they can't cross-communicate or harvest background data. But the friction for the user is immense.
I can imagine.
Because you've stripped out the Google framework, suddenly push notifications for encrypted messaging apps might drain your battery way faster.
Wait, really? Why?
Because they have to maintain their own background connections instead of using Google's efficient centralized push service.
Oh, that makes sense.
And mainstream banking apps might just refuse to open entirely because they can't run their proprietary security checks against Google's servers.
So you gain total privacy, but you essentially lose the ability to exist in a modern, hyper-connected society.
You become a digital hermit.
Which brings us back to BB's central frustration here. Why should BB have to choose between a corporate surveillance state or digital exile?
It's a terrible choice.
It is. Why should the default state of the device you paid for be, we are going to monitor your shopping habits and inject coupons unless you spend 3 hours disabling hidden developer toggles?
Yeah.
It feels less like an ecosystem and more like an endurance test.
There is actually a recognized psychological term for this in UX design. It's called consent fatigue.
Consent fatigue.
Yeah, when you bombard a user with an endless maze of settings, nested permissions, and obfuscated background processes, eventually the user's cognitive load maxes out.
They just get exhausted.
Exactly. They give up and just accept the default state.
Mm-hmm.
And the default state engineered by these companies is, of course, always maximum data extraction.
Always.
What BB's articulating to the AI is a profound grievance about the erosion of digital property rights. They are saying, look, this is my physical property. It is processing my personal data, yet I have zero administrative authority over its core functions.
And BB refuses to succumb to that consent fatigue.
They absolutely refuse.
BB actually tells the AI, I'd rather let the machine glitch out. I didn't buy this machine to have my thoughts owned.
That line is so powerful.
It is a highly clarifying statement. It strips away all the tech jargon and reveals the core philosophy. It's not about the annoyance of a coupon app anymore.
No, not at all.
It is about the principle of sovereignty.
And that concept of sovereignty is really what propels the rest of the conversation forward.
Yeah.
Because BB's frustration over software that is forced upon them naturally evolves into an even deeper frustration over software that is actively withheld from them.
Oh, right. The regional differences.
Exactly. See, grievance scales up. We move from the micro level of the phone in BB's pocket to the macro level of the smart speaker sitting in their living room.
And by extension, their entire geographic region.
Yes.
Right. So if we look at the source material, BB pivots hard into the reality of the language barrier.
This is a huge point of contention.
As much as BB resents the software Google pushes, they are absolutely furious about the localization Google refuses to provide. Specifically, the fact that Google Home and Google Nest devices still do not officially support the Thai language.
This is a glaring discrepancy that BB highlights. And it's so strange when you think about it.
Why?
Because if you pull out an Android smartphone in Thailand, Google Assistant handles the Thai language with remarkable fluency.
Right, on the phone it's fine.
Yeah, you can dictate complex paragraphs, ask for navigation, and it comprehends the syntax and context beautifully.
Wow.
But the moment BB tries to speak to the dedicated Google Home smart speaker on the kitchen counter, the system fails.
It just doesn't understand.
It cannot process Thai. BB is forced to speak English in their own home just to set a timer or turn off a light.
This feels like an artificial limitation to me. I mean, if the AI brain in the cloud already knows how to speak Thai from the phone data, why does the plastic cylinder on the counter suddenly act like it's never heard the language?
Well, the AI attempts to explain the technical reality behind this to BB, and it really comes down to the vast difference between near-field and far-field voice recognition.
Okay, near field versus far field.
Right. When you speak into your smartphone, the microphone is millimeters from your mouth. The signal-to-noise ratio is incredibly high.
So the audio is super clear.
Pristine. The audio packet sent to the cloud is pristine. But a smart speaker relies on far-field acoustics.
Because it's across the room.
Exactly. It has to capture your voice from 20 feet away, bouncing off hardwood floors over the sound of a television, while an air conditioner hums in the background.
And Thai is a deeply complex tonal language, which I imagine makes that acoustic physics problem significantly harder, right?
It multiplies the difficulty exponentially.
Because of the tones.
Yes, Thai has 5 distinct tones: mid, low, high, falling, and rising. The pitch contour of your voice completely dictates the semantic meaning of the word.
Give me an example of that.
Okay, so if you say the syllable may with a low tone, it means new.
Okay, new.
If you say it with a falling tone, it means not.
Not.
And if you say it with a high tone, it means would.
Wow. So slight distortion from an echoing room could change your command entirely.
Exactly. When a smart speaker uses beamforming.
Beamforming.
Yeah, that's where it calculates the microsecond delays between its multiple microphones to locate you in the room.
Oh, it's clever.
It is, but it has to aggressively filter out ambient noise. If that noise cancellation algorithm clips the subtle pitch contour of a Thai word, the word's meaning is destroyed before it even reaches the processing cloud.
So the cloud doesn't even know what you said.
Right. Doing far-field voice recognition for a tonal language requires a massive investment in specialized acoustic modeling.
Like real-world testing.
Yes, you need local linguistic quality assurance teams to train the hardware to actually hear through the noise.
Okay, I understand the technical friction there. The physics are genuinely difficult.
They are.
But come on, we are talking about one of the most resource-rich engineering conglomerates in human history.
That is very true.
If they wanted to solve the far-field tonal issue for Thai, they could throw 100 engineers at it and have it done in a year.
Easily.
Which means the technical hurdle is just an excuse for the real hurdle, the business logic.
And the AI basically confirms this. It brings up the concept of market priority.
Ah.
Google treats Thailand as a secondary, or perhaps even tertiary, market for its smart home hardware, compared to the US, the UK, Japan, or core European nations.
So it's just about the money.
It always is. The investment required to build those acoustic models for Thai simply isn't prioritized because the projected hardware sales in the region don't justify the localized R&D.
But this creates a maddening catch-22, which BB immediately calls out.
Oh yeah, BBC's right through it.
The AI is essentially saying Google doesn't localize the smart speakers for Thailand because the sales are too low to justify the cost.
Right.
And BB fires back, the sales are low because you refuse to localize it.
Exactly.
Why would a Thai consumer drop hundreds of dollars on a smart speaker that forces them to speak a foreign language in their own kitchen?
They wouldn't.
BB uses this incredible metaphor in the transcript, describing the unsupported Google Home device as a rock decorating the house.
It's a devastatingly accurate phrase, isn't it?
It really is.
A smart device stripped of its primary method of interaction, native speech, is totally stripped of its utility. It literally reverts to being an expensive paperweight.
An inert rock.
An inert rock. And this philosophy of neglect extends far beyond just the smart speaker ecosystem. BB points out that this exact same dynamic is playing out in the smartphone hardware market too.
Right, specifically regarding the Pixel phone series.
Yes.
The source material specifically mentions the Pixel, a series like the upcoming Pixel 9a or 10a. These are the budget-friendly phones that still pack top-tier cameras and clean software.
The conversation between BB and the AI highlights a massive unmet demand in the Thai market for these specific phones.
Because they hit that sweet spot.
Exactly. You have the hyper-expensive flagship tier dominated by iPhones and the highest-end Samsungs.
Right.
Then you have the flooded bottom tier of cheap, heavily ad-supported budget phones. The Pixel A series would perfectly bridge that gap for Thai consumers who want a clean, bloatware-free Android experience without spending flagship money.
But they can't buy it legitimately.
Nope.
Google simply refuses to establish official local service centers or distribution networks in Thailand for the Pixel line.
It's baffling.
So Thai consumers who want these devices are pushed entirely into the gray market.
Yeah, they have to rely on unofficial channels.
They have to go to physical tech bazaars like the MBK Center in Bangkok just to buy imported devices.
And buying on the gray market means accepting profound risks. Well, you are paying a premium for an imported device that has zero official warranty support.
Oh, man. So if
the screen cracks or the battery swells, you cannot send it to Google.
You're just out of luck.
You have to rely on third-party repair shops, cannibalizing parts from other broken phones.
Wow.
It creates an environment where the consumer assumes all the risk, while the tech giant still benefits from the ecosystem lock-in.
You know, if we look at the broader landscape, this strategy seems incredibly short-sighted to me.
How do you mean?
Well, Thailand is widely recognized as one of the most tech-obsessed, highly connected populations on the planet.
Absolutely.
They have staggering daily internet usage statistics and massive e-commerce adoption. If a country is that trend-hungry, aren't these companies just leaving an ocean of money on the table by ignoring them?
They are leaving hardware money on the table, yes.
Yeah.
But you have to remember how tech monopolies operate.
Okay.
They operate on a calculation of maximum data extraction for minimum localized infrastructure investment.
Right, because data is the real product.
Exactly. They have determined that they do not need to sell the Thai consumer a Pixel phone or a localized smart speaker to harvest their data.
Because they'll just use Google services on other phones.
I bought on. The Thai user will just buy a Samsung or an iPhone and use Google Search, Google Maps, and YouTube anyway.
So Google gets the data either way without having to build a repair center.
Exactly. The AI in the transcript notes a perceived corporate arrogance here that Google views users in these regions as demographics who should just adapt and speak English if they want to play with the premium hardware.
That is just, it's so arrogant. And think about the compounding loss of innovation here.
What do you mean?
Imagine a fully localized, seamlessly integrated smart ecosystem in Thailand. Think about the Thai tourism industry.
Oh, that would be massive.
Right. You could have tourists interacting with rural homestays through flawless, real-time, smart translation hubs right in the living room. It could revolutionize local economy.
It really could.
But instead, that future is indefinitely delayed by corporate inertia.
Which forces us to ask the foundational question that BB eventually arrives at in the transcript.
Which is?
Why is Google allowed to treat a nation of 70 million people this way?
Yeah, how do they get away with it?
How can a company extract so much value while providing so little localized respect? And the answer is that they can do it because Thailand lacks a protective digital barrier.
A digital barrier?
They have no domestic alternative. And this fundamentally shifts BB's argument into the realm of digital colonialism.
This is where the transcript takes a severe macroeconomic turn.
It really zooms out.
Yeah, BB stops looking at the device and starts looking at the map.
Yeah.
They contrast Thailand's situation with countries like South Korea and China.
It is a critical comparison. Let's look at South Korea for a second.
Okay.
They have Naver and Kakao. China has Baidu, Tencent, and WeChat.
Right, huge platforms.
But these aren't just apps. They are massive, vertically integrated domestic tech ecosystems. South Korea, for instance, successfully built a digital wall early on.
How did they do that?
Well, never dominated. Because they understood the deeply localized nuances of Korean search intent. They built massive Q&A databases tailored entirely to Korean culture long before Google could adapt its algorithms.
So they beat Google to the punch.
Exactly. They established true digital sovereignty.
So if a global giant like Google wants to operate in South Korea, they actually have to fight for market share.
Yes. They have to compete on features, language support, and localized relevance.
Boy, Thailand.
BB says it plainly in the text. We have nothing.
Wow.
Thailand does not have a domestic search engine or domestic mobile OS to act as a counterweight.
So the entire digital infrastructure of the nation is dependent on foreign monopolies.
It's completely dependent. And BB uses that specific term, digital colonialism, to describe the dynamic.
Digital colonialism.
Yeah, BB is accusing the broader system of selling out the nation digitally. When a country lacks digital sovereignty, the tech monopolies shift from a competitive model to a purely extractive or harvesting model.
Because they don't have to try anymore.
Right. They do not need to invest in localized consumer support because the consumer has nowhere else to go. The infrastructure of extraction is already deeply entrenched.
I am trying to wrap my head around this. Is this essentially a digital recreation of feudalism?
It really is a lot like that.
Like the tech giant is the absentee landlord living across the ocean. We are the tenant farmers working the land. And our data, our daily habits, our search queries, our location pings, our social networks is the crop they harvest for free.
Okay.
And it continually enriches the landlord while the farmers just get basic tools in return.
It is a stark analogy, but economically it maps very closely to what BB is experiencing. And the financial contrast detailed in the source material makes this dynamic painfully clear.
Oh, the investment numbers.
Yes. While BB is fuming over the lack of investment in a localized smart speaker, the AI brings up a recent massive financial commitment Google actually is making in Thailand.
Right.
A $1 billion, roughly 36 billion baht investment to build a new data center and cloud region in Chonburi and Bangkok.
Wait, hold on. So Google is pouring $1 billion of infrastructure into the country.
They are.
Doesn't that completely contradict BB's argument that they are ignoring Thailand?
Not at all, actually. Because we have to look closely at the nature of that investment.
Okay, break it down for me.
A data center and a cloud region are strictly business-to-business, or B2B investments.
B2B. So they aren't for the average consumer.
Exactly. They are building server farms to provide enterprise-level cloud computing, data storage, and AI processing power back to the Thai government, banks, and large domestic corporations.
Oh, I see the distinction. Governments and banks have strict data residency laws, right?
Yes, very strict.
They legally cannot store their sensitive citizen data on servers in Singapore or the US?
Precisely. So Google builds a physical server farm inside Thailand's borders so they can legally sell lucrative cloud contracts to the Thai government.
Okay, so it is highly lucrative enterprise infrastructure.
It guarantees massive, recurring government and corporate contracts. So they have $1 billion ready to capture enterprise cloud revenue. But they claim it is financially unviable to hire a localized QA team to make a consumer smart speaker understand the Thai language.
That is just maddening.
It perfectly illustrates the stark divide between B2B investment and business-to-consumer, or B2C investment. A B2C investment in a captured market is viewed purely as a sunken cost.
And if that contrast wasn't frustrating enough, the AI introduces a piece of financial data that absolutely detonates BB's patience.
Oh, the Apple deal.
Yes.
Okay.
The transcript brings up the relationship between Google and Apple, specifically the fact that Google pays Apple roughly $20 billion a year.
$20 billion.
$20 billion a year just to remain the default search engine on iOS devices like the iPhone and iPad.
We really need to contextualize that number.
Okay.
$20 billion paid annually solely to maintain a monopoly position on a rival company's hardware.
It's unbelievable.
Well, Apple owns the most lucrative user base globally, users with the highest discretionary income. Google pays that astronomical rent because they know the ad revenue generated by iPhone users searching on Google will completely dwarf the $20 billion fee.
It's an investment.
It is a massive arbitrage play to ensure Apple never decides to build its own search engine or switch the default to a competitor.
Think about the psychological impact of that number on BB.
It's staggering.
Google pays Apple $20 billion a year in California, which is 20 times the size of their entire infrastructure investment in Thailand.
Yeah.
Yet, localizing a smart speaker for 70 million Thai people is deemed too expensive.
Right.
BB is realizing that their data, generated in Thailand, is being harvested, aggregated, and monetized to fund a multi-billion-dollar payout to another tech giant halfway across the world, while their own language is treated as an absolute afterthought.
You genuinely start to feel like a second-class digital citizen.
I would too.
Yeah.
And BB reacts to this realization with blistering, sarcastic fury.
Oh, the demands BB makes are incredible.
If the data generated by the Thai populace is so valuable that it funds these global monopoly payouts, BB demands their personal cut.
Yep.
BB challenges the AI, saying, will you build a center first, or will you pay me my $22,000? Or my $20 billion?
I absolutely love that moment.
Cut me the check directly.
Yes. It is a total rejection of the invisible terms of service we all live under. If the data is the product and BB is the factory producing it, BB wants the dividend.
Exactly.
But BB is highly pragmatic underneath all that sarcasm. They know Google isn't actually going to wire them $20 billion.
Sadly, no.
Which forces BB to pivot their frustration away from the tech giants and toward the power structures much closer to home.
Right.
If the foreign monopolies are extracting this much value, why isn't the domestic government stepping in to regulate or tax them appropriately?
And this transitions the conversation directly into the realm of systemic enablers.
Yes, BB stops yelling at the cloud servers and starts looking at the politicians.
And BB is very proactive about it. They set an arbitrary yet highly forceful August deadline.
The August deadline.
They declare that Google has until August to set up a proper consumer-facing shop, complete with local language support, or face severe consequences.
And those consequences come in the form of a fascinating economic mechanism BB proposes, a differential tax rate.
Let's dive deep into the mechanics of this, because BB is furious about the current tax situation. Currently, how are these digital platforms taxed in this context?
Well, the current mechanism is a 7% VAT, a value-added tax applied to foreign digital service providers operating in Thailand.
Okay, 7%.
But BB views this as deeply insulting, and economically, BB is entirely correct.
Why is it insulting?
Because a VAT is an indirect tax. It is a pass-through cost.
Meaning the tech company doesn't actually lose a single cent of their profit margin.
Precisely. If a Thai small business buys advertising on Google or Facebook, or a user buys an app, the tech company simply tax that 7% onto the final bill.
So the consumer pays the tax.
The consumer absorbs the entire cost of the tax. The tech giant's profit remains entirely untouched, and the government collects a modest slice of revenue.
It does absolutely nothing to change the behavior or the power dynamic of the monopoly.
Nothing at all.
So BB proposes this differential tax rate to hit them where it actually hurts.
Yeah.
The concept is that if a global company operates in Thailand, extracts massive amounts of data and ad revenue from Thai citizens, but refuses to establish a physical consumer headquarters, refuses to hire local linguistic engineers, and refuses to provide localized language support, they get hit with a massive penalty tax.
We are not talking about a 7% VAT pass-through here. We are talking about taxing 20 or 30% of their gross revenue derived from the region.
Wow. It is essentially a punitive market access tax.
It is.
You are strong-arming a global monopoly by telling them the cost of your ticket to harvest data within our digital borders just quadrupled unless you invest heavily in our physical borders.
It is a highly aggressive protectionist strategy.
But could a nation realistically enforce that without causing massive economic chaos? Has anyone actually tried to aggressively tax these giants this way?
It is incredibly difficult. We have seen attempts globally, though.
Really? Where?
Look at the European digital tax initiatives. Countries like France attempted to levy a direct 3% tax on the gross revenues of large tech companies.
And what happened?
Well, the immediate response from the tech giants, and often the U.S. government backing them, is the threat of retaliatory tariffs, or the threat to simply withdraw services.
Withdraw services entirely?
Yeah. Imagine if Google threatened to shut down search and maps in a country because of a new tax. The domestic outrage from citizens losing their daily tools would likely force the politicians to back down within days.
They would completely cave, which perfectly aligns with BB's dark suspicion here.
Yes.
BB asks a very pointed, uncomfortable question in the transcript. Why hasn't the government fought back? Are they terrified of the tech giants?
It's a valid question.
And more specifically, BB suggests they might be paralyzed by the fear of digital blackmail.
This is a crucial, chilling concept to unpack.
Let's do it.
When we say digital blackmail, we shouldn't picture, a hacker in a dark room demanding a ransom.
Right.
It is far more systemic than that.
Ah.
It is the asymmetrical power dynamic of a foreign entity holding the metadata of an entire nation.
Wow.
The AI and BB discuss the reality that these platforms hold the search histories, the private photos, the direct messages, and the precise minute-by-minute location data of every politician, judge, and power broker in the country.
It effectively castrates any local political willpower.
Exactly.
Even if there is no overt stated threat from the tech company, the unspoken reality is just paralyzing.
You can't regulate the entity that possesses your deepest secrets.
The foreign entity holds the master ledger of your entire society's secrets. Or, as Bida points out, the corruption might be much more banal.
Much simpler.
Maybe the politicians simply hold massive stock portfolios in these tech companies.
A very common reality.
They personally benefit from the global stock price surging, so they actively ignore the extraction happening to the local consumer.
To map out this entrenched power structure, BB introduces a brilliant set of Thai idioms, categorizing the systemic enablers into 3 distinct groups.
Oh, yes. The swans, the geese, and the lizards.
Yes.
This was such a vivid breakdown in the transcript. Let's walk through it.
Let's do it.
The swans represent the elites, right? The policymakers and the ultra-wealthy.
Correct.
They float beautifully above the murky water, completely insulated from the friction the everyday user experiences.
Exactly. A swan doesn't care if the smart speaker lacks Thai localization because the swan likely speaks perfect English, was educated abroad, and lives in a completely different digital reality.
So they don't even see the problem.
They're blind to it. Then you have the geese.
The geese.
This represents the vast, loud, honking majority. They make a lot of noise. They might complain about the invasive apps on social media, but ultimately they lack direction.
They just follow the flock.
Exactly. They just accept the default settings, blindly clicking, I agree to the terms of service.
And finally, the lizards.
The lizards.
In this specific context, the lizards are the opportunists. The parasites waiting to feed on the scraps left behind by the monopolies.
Yes, these are the middlemen.
Like the gray market vendors at MDK.
Precisely. The bureaucratic fixers who financially benefit from the lack of regulation and the chaos of the system.
And all of these groups, the insulated swans, the passive geese, and the opportunistic lizards, operate within a rigid legal framework that Beebe memorably dubs the Macadamia Constitution.
The Macadamia Constitution. I love how specific this metaphor is.
It really is. We really need to dissect this because it perfectly captures Beebe's view of the law.
Think about the physical structure of a macadamia nut.
Okay.
It is famous for having an incredibly dense, brutally hard shell. It is notoriously difficult to crack without specialized tools.
Right, you can't just bite into it.
No. In Beebe's metaphor, the Constitution, the legal system itself, is that impenetrable shell. It is designed from the ground up to be completely unyielding to the average citizen attempting to enact change or hold monopolies accountable.
It keeps them out.
Yes.
And what is protected inside that hard shell?
Fat.
Fat.
Macadamia nuts are exceptionally high in fat. In Beebe's framework, this fat represents the dense, concentrated wealth, the entrenched corruption, and the corporate monopolies protected by the legal system.
So if a regular working-class citizen tries to seek justice or demand digital sovereignty, they are basically trying to bite into a macadamia nut.
They won't get to the fat.
They will just break their own jaw.
Exactly.
The law is a premium nut sitting in a display case designed to protect the harvester while punishing anyone who tries to crack it without permission.
It is a profound realization of powerlessness. Beebe sees the entire board, the tech monopolies siphoning billions while refusing basic language support, the politicians paralyzed by digital blackmail or personal greed, and a legal system designed to break the teeth of the working class.
So bleak.
It is. And this overwhelming systemic gridlock pushes Beebe's imagination over the edge.
Because what else can you do?
Right. If the Macadamia Constitution on Earth is truly unbreakable, where do you go to find justice?
You leave the planet. You literally go to space.
You go to space.
Which launches us into the most philosophical, radical phase of this entire conversation.
The transcript really shifts gears here.
It's wild. Beebe's mind takes a massive leap from digital regulation to literal escape velocity. Beebe proposes the construction of a spaceship, which they name, fittingly, Macadamia 1.
Macadamia 1. And the primary stated mission of Macadamia 1 is exile.
Exile.
Beebe wants to round up the out-of-touch elites, the swans, the parasitic lizards, and the tech executives sitting in California counting their $20 billion Apple payouts and shoot them directly to the moon.
And Beebe is incredibly specific about the punishment, too.
Oh, very specific.
They don't just want to exile them, they want to strip them of their context. Beebe says they want to leave these elites floating in zero gravity, specifically to let them pee their pants in raw terror.
In zero gravity.
Yes. It is the realization that their massive wealth, their stock portfolios, and their algorithmically generated power mean absolutely nothing in the cold vacuum of space.
Without their engineered environment, they are powerless.
Exactly.
And while it is framed through a lens of dark comedy and science fiction, the psychological desire driving this space exile is profound.
It really is.
It represents a desperate yearning for a true, clean slate. Beebe is searching for a territory where the corrupted rules of Earth's digital, political, and economic gravity simply no longer apply.
But Beebe's rebellion doesn't stop at exiling the politicians.
No, it goes deeper.
Beebe turns their anger toward the very foundation of modern, Earth-centric knowledge. Beebe launches into a critique of modern science and learning, comparing it to growing up with an ATM machine.
This ATM metaphor might be the most vital insight in the entire transcript.
Let's really break it down.
Because it addresses how our minds have been colonized, not just our devices.
Okay, what does Beebe mean by the ATM?
Beebe is arguing that the frictionless convenience of modern technological platforms has fundamentally degraded our critical thinking, our empirical curiosity, and our scientific rigor.
We've just gotten lazy.
The concept is often referred to in academia as epistemic dependence, or black boxing.
Black boxing. Think about the physical act of using an ATM. You walk up to a metal box, you insert a card, you push a few buttons, and physical cash dispenses into your hand.
Right.
You have absolutely no idea how the banking network authenticated your PIM. You don't know how the mechanical rollers inside the machine sorted the bills.
You don't care.
You don't care about the mechanics, you just expect the pre-programmed output.
And Beebe asserts that we now treat all human knowledge and scientific inquiry exactly like an ATM.
That is so true.
We encounter a question, we search Google, and we blindly accept whatever answer the algorithm dispenses on the first page.
We don't dismantle the ATM to look at the gears.
No. We don't interrogate the methodology behind the search results. We don't question the underlying mechanics of our reality anymore because it's just too convenient to accept the output.
Beebe argues that because users and even modern scientists are terrified of dismantling the ATM, human progress is stagnating.
We are just endlessly rearranging the knowledge that has already been indexed.
It forces you to ask, are we all just standing in a massive line at the reality ATM, accepting whatever worldview the monopoly algorithm decides to dispense today, instead of attempting to build our own bank?
It's a terrifying thought. And Beebe's proposed antidote to this intellectual stagnation is captured in a specific Thai phrase they use, Kutma Anyum.
Kutma Anyum, what does that mean?
It roughly translates to knowledge dug up by oneself.
I love that.
It is a passionate demand for a return to empirical, hands-on discovery. Beebe wants knowledge that is excavated through personal friction and observation, rather than data that is simply copied and pasted from a centralized corporate database.
Digging it up yourself. And Beebe is so fiercely committed to this philosophy of first-hand discovery that they decide to apply it to the most hostile environment imaginable.
Space?
Yes. Once they are up in space on Macadamia 1, Beebe plans to personally test the ultimate textbook dogma of Earth-centric science.
Beebe proposes a total paradigm shift.
Instead of accepting the universally agreed-upon scientific rule that space is a dead, unbreathable vacuum, Beebe decides they need to test it personally.
It's so reckless, but so poetic.
Beebe casually announces to the AI that they plan to take off their space helmet to prove they can hold their breath in the vacuum of space.
And the AI, which is programmed to provide factual safety information, immediately enters protocol mode.
Obviously.
It strongly warns Beebe that taking off a helmet in a vacuum will cause a human to pass out in approximately 15 seconds.
Just 15 seconds.
The AI actually attempts to explain the severe biology and physics of a vacuum exposure. It is not like holding your breath underwater.
How is it different?
In a zero-pressure environment, the pressure differential causes the oxygen to be violently pulled out of your bloodstream through the semi-permeable membranes of your lungs.
Oh, that sounds awful.
It gets worse. Furthermore, the nitrogen and water in your tissues begin to vaporize and expand, a condition known as ebullition.
Ebullition.
Yeah, you don't slowly run out of air, your blood is instantly stripped of it while your fluids basically boil.
It is a horrific biological reality.
Truly.
But Beebe refuses to accept the AI's textbook data. Beebe pushes back using a genuinely fascinating biological analogy.
The deep-sea creatures.
Yes. Beebe points to deep-sea creatures. They say, look at the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
Uh-huh.
The atmospheric pressure is crushing, enough to implode a submarine. There is zero sunlight. The water is near freezing. Yet, life adapted.
Crabs, tube worms, bizarre fish.
They thrive down there. So Beebe argues, if life can adapt to the absolute extreme pressure of the deep ocean, why is it impossible for human biology to adapt to the absolute zero pressure of space?
Now, the AI attempts to clarify the biological difference, explaining that deep-sea creatures still rely on dissolved oxygen in the water.
Right.
Or they utilize chemosynthesis processing toxic chemicals like hydrogen sulfide from volcanic hydrothermal vents to create energy. They aren't living in a vacuum, they are living in a different chemical medium.
But Beebe isn't interested in a marine biology lesson.
Not at all.
Beebe is pushing past earthbound biology entirely to establish a completely new space-centric logic.
And this is where Beebe asks the most radical, boundary-pushing question of the entire conversation.
What is it?
Beebe says, what if dark energy is actually the oxygen of space?
Oh, wow.
Let's bridge Beebe's poetic, almost mystical philosophy with actual astrophysics here, because the metaphor is striking.
Okay, what exactly is dark energy?
Dark energy is a theoretical cosmological force. According to standard models, it makes up roughly 68% of the total energy in the observable universe.
68%. That's most of everything.
Yes. It is the invisible force that is causing the expansion of the universe to accelerate. It is omnipresent, it is unimaginably powerful, yet we cannot interact with it or harness it using any current Earth technology.
So Beebe is looking at dark energy and seeing the ultimate untapped resource.
Exactly.
It represents a boundless potential that Google hasn't figured out how to copyright, monetize, or hide behind a terms of service agreement. It is unmonopolized power.
Exactly. And the AI, Desperately trying to keep up with BB's radical leap while grounding it in real science brings up actual aerospace engineering efforts to find breathable air in space.
Like what?
The AI mentions the MOXI experiment on Mars.
Oh, I remember following this. This was an instrument on the Perseverance rover, right? The little golden box.
Yes, the Mars Oxygen Institute Resource Utilization Experiment. It is a brilliant piece of technology.
How does it work?
The Martian atmosphere is 95% carbon dioxide. MOXI pulls in that Martian air, compresses it, heats it to about 800 degrees Celsius, and uses a process called solid oxide electrolysis to rip the oxygen atoms away from the carbon monoxide.
So it successfully produced breathable oxygen on another planet?
It did. The AI also brings up lunar extraction.
Like from the moon?
Yeah. Lunar regolith moon dust is composed of minerals like ilmenite and olivine, which are essentially bound up with oxygen. Moon dust is actually about 40 to 45% oxygen by weight.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Using molten salt electrolysis, scientists can literally bake the moon dust to extract breathable air.
So the AI is presenting these engineering marvels, essentially saying, look, you don't need to miraculously breathe dark energy.
No.
We have machines that can bake moon rocks to give you oxygen.
But BB rejects this entirely.
Totally. BB says, no, you are still trapped in Earth-centric thinking. You are just bringing heavy machines into space to force the cosmos to act like Earth.
BB envisions a mechanism that is much more organic, much more profound. BB envisions the physical human breath acting as a catalyst.
This is the absolute climax of the philosophical journey in the transcript. We discussed earlier how BB feels trapped on Earth. BB views the atmosphere not as a protector, but as an atmospheric cage.
An atmospheric cage.
Our human breath, our intake of oxygen and exhalation of carbon dioxide is forever trapped by Earth's gravity. It recycles endlessly within this closed ecosystem.
Right.
Our physical breath, our literal life force, has never truly reached the open cosmos.
So BB theorizes, what if a human taking off the helmet, standing in the void, and exhaling deeply into the vacuum acts as the first domino?
The cosmic domino.
It is a piece of profound defiant symbolism.
And it really is.
BB is suggesting that when the human breath, the catalyst, finally interacts with the dormant, limitless dark energy of the universe, it will trigger a massive chain reaction.
BB describes the reaction vividly. They ask, what if I breathe out? And suddenly trees instantly sprout.
Instantly sprouting trees in space.
Yes. BB is imagining the creation of a spontaneous cosmic oasis, terraforming the void not with heavy machinery or corporate algorithms, but purely through the exertion of human willpower.
It is the ultimate assertion of individual agency against a system that demands absolute passivity.
Totally.
BB is arguing that our literal breath, the most fundamental act of living, is the true spark of creation. It is the sharpest possible contrast to the inciting incident of this entire deep dive.
It really is, if you think about it.
Think about where we started. A passive consumer sitting on a couch, having a discounts and savings app silently pushed to their device by an invisible algorithm.
And we end with an individual terraforming the universe with their own lungs.
It is breathtaking, literally and figuratively.
BB starts out annoyed by a hidden coupon toggle in a settings menu and escalates to wanting to breathe the cosmos into existence just to prove the tech billionaire's wrong.
It is the absolute final rejection of the terms of service.
And it speaks to a very deep psychological need that the source material briefly touches upon right at the very end.
The sandbox of dreams.
Yes, the sandbox of dreams. BB tells the AI about a recurring dream where they fly up into orbit to physically fix a broken satellite with their own bare hands.
Right. Instead of sitting on hold, waiting for the massive telecom monopoly to reset the server from a data center.
BB just flies up into the thermosphere with a wrench and tightens the bolt themselves.
It perfectly encapsulates the entire grievance.
It highlights a universal human need to physically touch the mechanics of our reality.
Yes. We want to repair a broken system with our own hands,
Right.
bypassing the corporate intermediaries that insulate us from the truth.
We want to dismantle the ATM.
We want to be the ones pushing the domino.
Wow. Okay. What an unbelievable journey this transcript has taken us on.
It's been a ride.
Let's just briefly retrace the incredible arc we've just covered. We started at the absolute ground level, the invasive, auto-installed discounts and savings app on a smartphone, which exposed the illusion of device ownership and the mechanics of modular updates.
Which then revealed the geographical neglect, the acoustic physics of why a smart speaker refuses to understand the Thai language, and the gray market risks of buying a Pixel phone without local support.
which pulled back the curtain on the massive macroeconomic reality of digital colonialism. We explored the stark difference between a billion-dollar enterprise data center and localized consumer support and the staggering $20 billion Apple default search deal that extracts value from secondary markets.
And that frustration led us to analyze the systemic enablers. We broke down the mechanics of the differential tax rate, the paralyzing fear of digital blackmail, and explored the impenetrable macadamia constitution protected by the swans, the geese, and the lizards.
And finally, that overwhelming systemic gridlock propelled us into escape velocity. Exiling the elites on Macadamia 1, rejecting the ATM model of black box science, and ultimately taking off the space helmet to breathe dark energy, pushing the cosmic domino of human willpower.
It is a masterclass in escalating a micro-frustration into a macro-philosophy.
It really is. So why should you, the listener, care about BB's wild space-centric rebellion? Why does this matter to you?
It matters more than you might think.
Because the mechanics of this exact extraction are happening on the device sitting next to you right now.
Right now.
Next time your phone auto-updates in the middle of the night, or the next time a tech giant claims that localizing a feature or respecting your privacy is impossible or too expensive, you need to ask yourself a question.
You really do.
Are you just standing in line at the reality ATM, blindly accepting the output the algorithm dispenses? Or are you ready to dig for the truth yourself?
Are you willing to examine the density of the macadamia shell rather than just accepting that the fat inside is off-limits to you?
Exactly. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to mull over. We talked at the very beginning about that house. The one where the builder secretly keeps the master key. Well, scale that concept up. We are all currently enclosed in the atmospheric cage of Earth. We are endlessly recycling the exact same air, and we're endlessly recycling the exact same prepackaged digital ideas fed to us by the exact same monopolies.
It's a closed loop.
If you had the chance, if you could step completely outside that cage out into the absolute terrifying unknown of the vacuum and push the first cosmic domino with your own breath,
Yeah.
would you have the courage to take off the helmet?